All right, here we go. Everybody hear me? Everybody see me?
Yep.
So, sorry, I'm in the kitchen. My office is next to Jocelyn's room, and I get talking, it wakes her up. So. But first off, if you're on, just hit mute on your phone or on your thing, and then if we got any questions as we go through this, you just bounce off. And kind of give you an overlay of what I want to go over tonight. One is just kind of where we're at right now. After about 7 months in, where we're heading. Want to go over some numbers and want to give some things, kind of like feed some things out to you that I've been told that I want to pass on. And then I want to get into a little bit of training tonight. You know, and as we do these trainings, you know, if we don't bring value to you guys getting on, then it's a waste. So we have to be intentional about what we're doing here. And tonight, I think where we're at, one is we need to make sure we've got vision, value, and time management. Those are the three things I want to train you on tonight. But before that, I want to say congrats, because everybody that's in here, the 14 people that are in this, okay, it's because your managing directors are higher. And where that means is you guys have either got $2,000 in volume and you've signed up 3 people and you're moving and you're starting to recruit, okay? You may not have, okay, all the tools yet. You might be missing things. That's why your success book that you got, okay, I left it in the office. I was going to show it. The success tool book is so powerful. I know when I first got started, I went through it. I read it. You know, if you're missing it, you can order a new one off the site. There's a virtual one, I think, somewhere on our site too. So there's so much information in that. If you're stuck on something and you can't get hold of, you know, somebody who's above you or somebody higher up in ID Life or a Crossline or Upline, go to that book. Most of it's in there. The definitions and things in it are really awesome. Sometimes you got to read through the page structure and then read the definitions to understand some things. But that part of it is awesome. Is a very strong tool. I wish we had that in our former company, because it does make a huge help. So first of all, being in this page or in this group, there's some privileges to it. One, you're going to be able to get some information like we're going to talk about tonight about what's coming forward. And just like the other night, as soon as I knew that the DNA kits were selling out quick, you were the first people we notified. Okay. So that if you didn't order yours, or you had somebody that is on the fence, you were able to reach out to them first. Okay. Before I sent it out to the mass numbers. Okay. So there's going to be things like that. So I encourage you to check this message group that I have here. Okay, you want to make sure you're up to date with it. That when you see it ding, I'm not going to put silly things in there. Okay, it's going to be information that's useful for you. Okay, and just like a couple of things I'm going to tell you tonight, it's going to be useful for you building your business. One of the things Heather and I used to struggle with is they would have these big promotions coming out, and all the top diamonds and other leaders would know what was coming, and they knew how to align themselves so they could have great success. And then we're jumping on the day of the announcement. We're still spending 2 days trying to get everything organized. We don't have that now. And I don't want you guys to feel the same way. I want you guys to be able to be prepared, be able to launch things, and get a lot of value out of the promotions, which I think we nailed the DNA kits. Okay. And by the way, our team is cranking it. Not only did Brett win the $100, congrats, bud, from Coach, but you also got the T-shirt back in the day. And now Jim Campbell won the bag. Okay, is that coincidental? No, because we're putting numbers up. Okay, our team is making things happen, and so I want to talk about here in a little bit. How do we continue to be number one? How do we continue to push forward in place? So that leads me into a little bit about the vision of what's going on, and I think we're getting ready to head into 2020. And what are we telling the people that are on our team? Okay, so if you're a managing director or higher, you have more than 1 or 2 people that are probably looking to build a business or starting to get going. So what kind of things do we talk about? What kind of things do we coach them about? Okay, it's all about vision right now. Where we're moving, and you know, where else do you have full customized nutrition? Where else do you have DNA? I don't see Modere putting things up about DNA. Okay, they're tricking people into their business. We go straight out and tell you what we have. Okay, we're Apple right now, but we're a baby Apple. We're slowly moving, very slow. Okay, because we're growing, and 2020 is coming. Is going to be very powerful for a lot of people on this call, because the people that are moving forward, and as you're telling your team and you're pushing things forward, okay, what it does is it gives you momentum. Okay, it gives you momentum to help you work with those people. So, for example, okay, right now we're excited. When I got new people that I'm talking to, I'm sharing with them, like, first of the year, if you haven't seen it, if you turn on the TV or you turn on your Facebook or Instagram, you're seeing, let me mute some lines here. You're seeing, okay, ads for what? Gyms, weight loss, all those types of things. So that's what we've got to be doing, and that's what we just did. Okay, we just launched DNA. What do? We promoted the heck out of it. And so now all these people with Facebook, we're talking, we're sending messages. We have now just like kind of started ringing the bell, like, hey, here we are. And now this is the time, the next 4 weeks is go time. This is really where we get this momentum, and we're going to jump into 2020 with a lot of new products. Hint, hint. Some new things are coming. Okay. And about the middle of December, they're going to launch the promotion. Okay. So this is just for this group here. Okay. You don't need to go out and tell your teammates that, but we know. So the promotion is going to line up, I believe, with something with ID Nutrition and the weight loss. I don't know the exact details. They're going to tie the DNA in. These DNAs we just went out and sold to all these people with the new promotion. So that's smart. So there's a lot of the work that you've already done is really going to pay off moving forward. Okay. So as we move forward into the new year, these are things that are going to happen. Okay. And this is my vision for it. I think back when I coached, one of the things that I was always into is like, I wanted to make sure my team was the best. And that every year when we were showing up in preseason, we were talking about a national championship. When the season was over, if we didn't make it that far, if we fell short, the very next day, we're talking about the next year in the national championship. And so what I will take the approach as I lead a group in the same manner as I coach. So we've got to win the championship. We've got to win nationals. We got to be in that final cup. Okay. And for us, it's the blue jacket. Okay. And it's a blue jacket for many people here. And that's the vision I see. I see many people that are going to be able to put on a blue jacket in this company and be some of the first 50 presidents in this company. And as this company grows and goes into year 6, some of us are going to do that. In year 7, there's going to be some other people on this team that's going to do it. Okay. Year 8, okay, there's going to be some more people that started with us in the beginning that are going to do it. There's going to probably be somebody that comes along and does it within a year. Okay. And they could be on your team. That could be one of your teammates down the road. So there's a lot of those things like that are coming through. And if we're not pushing ourselves, we're not setting the bar, we're just pushing it to the side, we're not making it a value, then those things won't come. But what comes with us chasing that, I'll tell you what comes, because I've seen it. A lot of us have, maybe some of us haven't, okay? I remember back when I first started, I made $32,000 as a coach. That's what I made for the full year, okay? $32,000. I drove a very simple car, okay? I never was able to have a nice car. The house was simple, and I didn't see my kids. It just didn't happen because I was coaching all the time. Now, what happened when I started building a business is an extra $11,000 came in over the first 8 months, and that allowed me to start buying groceries and doing a little bit of extra things on the side. And the next year after that, when it was $38,000, $40,000 for that year, that's when debt and other jobs went off to the side. And I saw other friends do that. And that's what's going to happen here. We're going to have people who are going to hit national, okay? And they're going to quit a part-time job, or they're going to start taking vacations that they've been wanting to take. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have vacations. You're going to pay off debt, okay? You're going to be able to maybe bring a spouse home, especially when you start getting to vice president. Okay, that's about $60,000 to $80,000 a year, and when you're hitting president, it's six figures here. So all of a sudden, you add in six figures, the part-time gig into your life. There's a lot of things change. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, that'll never happen with me, I'm not very good at this, then I'm here to tell you it's the wrong mindset, because you are. Because if you want to learn how to do it, you will. Okay, it will, and you're going to fail, and it's going to struggle, but you're going to get better, and you're going to learn. It's when choosing not to do anything because you're scared or think you're going to fail, so you choose not to do it anyway, you will never. But if you decide to move forward and make it a goal, we're going to talk about that tonight, you're going to see these benefits. And as leaders, okay, you've already demonstrated that you can recruit at least 3 people or more and build somewhat of a team. So if you've already demonstrated that, now the next step is us getting you a little bit more uncomfortable to help those people that you have on your team. So what we have to do here is we have to start to build leaders. And I'm not going to get into this too much tonight, but everybody on this call, I encourage you to reach out to me, set up a time with Heather and I, or whenever you want to do it, and we'll walk through. I'll tell you what I think your strengths are. I'll tell you, I'll give you some books that if you tell me, hey, I'm struggling here, I'll give you some books to read, or I'll push you in some directions, or I'll give you some advice. Okay. And we built a 6-figure income before. We're going to do it even bigger here. So we understand how the business works. And one of the things that I read a book and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to pick up the phone right now and tell my whole team about it. I had to come to realize I can't do that. I can't regurgitate all these books that I've read and try to feed it into 1 or 2 people. What I have to do is I have to teach people where to go get the books and teach them themselves. Okay. So if you want to be a leader, if you want to build a team, you're going to have to ask for help. Okay. And I think that was the very first thing that I've had to do, that I've had the opportunity now, is I've asked Keith for help on certain things. I'll message him. What do you think about this? I'm stuck. How would you approach it? Okay. And he's very honest with me. And it's been a huge help. So that's duplicatable. And so for us to teach that to you guys, to say, hey, you're stuck, well, you want to get better, or these are your goals, or where do I need to do? I'll give you my honest opinion and kind of push you in some directions. Now, it's your job to go that direction. But the value in this, okay, you sometimes wonder, why would somebody spend this much time and hear no's and push through some of the things here that's sometimes not real easy? Okay, why would somebody choose this as a profession in their life? And why would you rebuild it after it was taken away from you? And I think the most important part of that right there is you're seeing a lot of people who did get it taken away, but they're rebuilding it. So there's got to be some value in it. And this is one of the values it was in for me. When we built this back in the day, we took time off, about 6 to 7 months, and a lot of you guys may have heard this, and build a house. Okay. So I was able to not only run my business for a few hours a week, but put a lot of attention 7 days a week into the home we live in, so that we could have what we wanted and it'd be done right. It kept paying. And once I had that experience, especially after I retired in 2016, to step up and do my own thing, I didn't have to have a boss. I didn't have to ask somebody if I could go on vacation. I didn't have to beg somebody to let me go take my son or daughter, now daughters, to the doctor. I didn't have to do that. It was like, okay, great. I do this, I do that. And so the freedom, and when I knew that freedom was possibly going to be taken away and have to go back, and I'm not saying that jobs are bad. Jobs are great. Having employment is awesome. Because, and we're going to talk about this too, with the value of this, okay, no job is certain. Well, none of business is certain, as we found out here. Your job is certain. Life is not certain. Children are not certain. Schooling is not certain. Everything you have around you is not guaranteed tomorrow or the day after. And so as you talk to your leaders and you're trying to paint a little bit of vision of where this is going, we're at the very beginning of a very unique company. Okay. It truly is $1 trillion industry turned upside down. And I think that was proven over the last 5 to 6 days with how many DNA kits were sold and how people are coming out of the woodwork now wanting them. Okay. We really we're ringing the bell. We're people are perking their ears up. And guess what? Your name is identified to that. And you can really bank on it. So if we're over here working extra, building some momentum in a part-time business, and my job over here, I'm doing a good job working for the person who's hired me, and I'm doing my job, and I'm also over here plugging, something over here happens, you have a golden parachute. And for a lot of people, they don't understand that. See, if you want to be like the other majority of people, do what most of the majority of people do. They go to work, they pay their bills, they're in debt, they get 2 weeks off a year, and they hope that they can get through Christmas or vacation with not too much debt. That's the majority of the population. Now, if that's how you want to live, great. But if you don't, you can't do what they do. It can't be a 9 to 5, and at 5 o'clock I throw my feet up and I watch TV. Okay? It's Saturday or Sunday. I'm just going to check out. So that's what the average person does. And that's what society, that's what everybody wants you to think. Oh, this is what I do. I go on vacation. I wait for Christmas. I wait for New Year's. You know, I wait for this, and then I wait for Friday, and I go back to work. That's not what you're about. If you do the things that most of the majority of the other people do, you'll earn here. And all of a sudden, when you do these extra things over time, you start having things that the majority of people don't have. Okay? You have more time freedom. You have the extra things like an extra car or a boat or a vacation, or your better insurance for your kids, or better liability or better school. Okay? There's a lot of buttons here that pushes a lot of different people. Okay? Time freedom is my button. Time freedom and amazing opportunities to travel and do things. That's why I do this. Because when I put time into this, what happens is it's giving me time back later. And there's not many things you can do to put your time in where it's going to continue to pay you. So that's a little bit of the vision that I was talking about. Vision of, you know, we're the first fully customized nutrition company. We've got DNA. Okay. Those two things alone can make a lot of us here very wealthy. I'm going to flat out say it can earn us a lot of money when we implement the right things and we get passionate about it. So we went and watched, if you haven't seen it, it's awesome. I highly recommend it. Ford versus Ferrari. And I'm in the middle of the movie, and Shelby is standing in front of Ford and makes a comment, and I actually had to whip my phone out and take it. He said that, you know, doing what you love, you never have to work a day in your life when you do what you love, right? Everybody knows that? Okay. But he took it a step farther. He goes, but you'll achieve when you have to do it. When you feel it here, like I have to do this, like I have to build this, or I've got to get to this level, or I got to make this achievement happen. When it's inside of you that much, like I have to do it, then what happens is you start to move with it. Okay. And I will tell you right now, there are going to be people who are going to be on this call. There's going to be people who are on our team that a week from now won't be here. A month from now won't be here. But the people that stick and stay, as we saw it, okay, some of the first people in AdvoCare that stuck and stayed, okay, were making millions, and they were not rock stars. They just kept showing up day after day after day. And I think a lot of you guys seen those people talk on stage, okay? So vision. Paint vision for you people. So what's happening? We're getting DNA out. There's a big weight loss going to happen. Okay, first of the year, what's everybody doing? New Year's resolutions. We've got the solution for New Year's resolutions. What's also New Year's resolutions? A lot of people are feeling the pinch from the holidays. Well, they need extra money. They want to make extra money. So we're coming in to a high value time I mean, if you're not pumped up about 2020, man, and this is the other thing. Look at the economy right now. It's soaring. So people got a lot of disposable income. Guess what they're going to be buying come January, February, March? I mean, last year was a strong year for health products. They're expecting it to be double to triple already. Okay, so some of the things there. So here's a couple things to think about. Time management. Okay, if we see value in what we're doing, which I hope that most people here would see value that what we are doing is going to pay us, because I think most people have already seen at least a $500 to $1,000 paycheck. Okay, some people seen a $500 check in about 4 to 5 days. And put this in perspective. Think about this. Let's go. Brett, you're gonna go get a part-time job. Okay, you're gonna go be a Walmart greeter, part-time. It's holidays. Okay, you're gonna wear your little vest, and we're gonna go out, and Todd's gonna be your manager. Okay, and he's gonna make sure you're at work, but you only want to work part-time. Okay, so you're gonna work 20 hours a week, and you're gonna get I've seen it $11 an hour for the greeter. Or yeah, it's $11 an hour. Okay, but you got to have a little bit more gray hair, I think. So you're going to go out and you want a part-time job. Do you know if you work part-time, 20 hours a week, 4 weeks out of the month, so 20 hours every week, do you know you only make about $880? That's not even the union or the taxes or any other thing that come along with it. You got to drive there. You got to do something that's pretty darn boring. You can't do what you want or schedule it when you want. And we have the ability to get somebody paid $500 within their first or 2 weeks, and a lot of times $1,000 or more dollars in a month. And I tell you, if somebody worked 20 hours a week here with IDLife, they'd be making a lot more than $1,000 a month. So put things in perspective. Realize what you've got and what you're doing with it, and realize that, okay, stop for a second. And I'm going to give you a little bit more value in this. Not only did that person just earn $500 to $1,000 that month, what's going to continue to happen? All right, they're going to continue to earn some income off that consumable product with them. Oh, lift somebody's head. People can't think of that. I mean, broke Uncle Bob's like, what? How to make money again? He's still trying to get his shoes off and count all his fingers and toes and add it up. But that's people's mindset. So again, what are the majority of people thinking? And so sometimes you're going to have those conversations, not only with them, but with ourselves too, because we get caught up with all that noise. Oh, buy the latest this, do the latest that. Think this way. It's Friday. You should be putting your feet up. It's happy hour. You should be at happy hour. You shouldn't be at work. So those aren't things that get you grinding. Okay. If you want to be successful, I'll tell you how simple this business is. You want to be successful, and I know there's people on this call right now that's seen it. Do exactly what Keith O'Brien does. He gets up in the morning. He's in a routine. He stays in that routine. He doesn't let anybody get him out of that routine. He's set on that he's going to make this work, and he's going to do it. Okay? And that's where we're at. We don't let other people tell us that, oh, this is stupid, or, you know, it's a pyramid scheme, whatever. You're knuckleheads. There's tons of these companies out there. There's people, I got friends in them that do it, and they do it well. I've got a cousin that's Mary Kay, but Brett knows her, Tanya Pinkerton, and she crushes it. Been doing it for 20 years. So, I mean, you can't let those people get you off track. So where I'm going with this is, if there's value in what we're doing, if there's a huge upside to what we're doing, and I get paid over and over and over again, a residual income. By the way, if you watch any millionaire, okay, or big, like Grant Cardone, actually I watch this in Grant Cardone, one of the hardest things to do is create a residual income, even for multimillionaires, because it takes like $2.5 million in the bank, $2.5 million in the bank per month to generate $5,000 of residual income. Okay, so that, unless you write a book or write a song, or as a lot of those Grant Cardone, any of those great guys, they'll say network marketing is your next bet. So great value. It works. It pays us. This is something that we need to do. What do I do next? And where do a lot of people fall short? Okay. A a lot of people fall short, and this is where the training comes in tonight, is time management. Okay. It's managing your time to be able to do your full-time job, manage your family, and still get time to do your ID Life business and do the right things within your ID Life business. Okay. So what's time management? Well, understanding that everybody has 24 hours in a day. Now, here's the real power that I've learned lately. Everybody has 24 hours in the day. Jim, what's up, buddy? Congrats on the backpack. That's awesome. We're really happy for you. And I hope you landed that deal. Jim was on getting some DNA stuff worked out. And so, let me jump on that. Okay. So if there's value to it, and we got to make sure that we put time aside for it. Okay. So one thing that I've made sure that we've always done is when it's ID Life time, it is like, you got to make time for it. And so I got ahead of myself. Sorry. Jim distracted me. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. Riddle me this, Jason Lawless. Why is it that one guy does 24 hours worth of work, or say 12 hours worth of work in that 24 hours, gets paid $50,000, and the other guy works the same 12 hours and get paid $1 million? What's the difference? It's the vehicle. It's the vehicle that he's working on, or it's the vehicle that he's been building. So a lot of people go for the quick fix, the easy transportation, okay, where like, oh, I can get this really cheap and I'll take it and I'll go. Or some other people see value and they build a race car. Now the race car might take longer to build and be more expensive, but finally when they get it up and running, it catches everybody and blows them away. So ID Life is the same thing. And so when you have to pick what you're choosing to do within your 12, 24, how many hours you have in a day, whatever you want to use. Okay, so we'll just use that 12. You have to you choose what you put in that 12 hours. Okay, if your 12 hours is, you know, some TV or some family or something, it's not going to produce what the other 12 hours are going to produce for the person that does something different. Okay, so you've got to really look at, and this is what I'm talking about, time management. I'm not really worried about sales right now or how to talk to somebody or how to build a team, because if we can't manage our time first, none of this else happens. And that's one of the things I watched with Keith. He sets a routine and he sticks to it. He wakes up at the same time. Dude, I think the guy pees and poops at the same time. Okay, he works out at the same time. He takes his lunch at the same time. He does his calls. He's got a set day. Okay, this is what he does Monday, blah, 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 and then he throws in the trainings. Okay, so you have to find a routine. You got to stay within it, and you got to understand that, yeah, you have to choose. For example, I had to take out soccer because it only pays $3,000 for the spring or for the fall. And I needed to replace it with more time with ID Life because maybe only this is going to pay me out maybe an extra $1,000 now. So, okay, I'm taking out $3,000 and only putting $1,000 in. But I also realized that if I'm filling the pipeline right now, come January, it's going to be $5,000, $10,000 for the month. So those are the things that as you're trying to decide on what I should do or when I should do this, that's one of the things I want you to think about. Okay, is you all have the same amount of time in the day. What are you putting in it with value that's going to pay you long term? Okay, so I hope that helps. I hope you're seeing the vision that we're seeing with moving forward. I mean, we got people in these pages that made more money already in the first 6 months than they did in a year or two with Avocare or any other companies. Or some people are coming in like, dude, it wasn't even another company. I was smart enough not to get in it. But, you know, it's where you put your time, painting vision, and being passionate about it. Now, something I want to kind of talk about. So as we start to fill our pipeline, and think about this. These leadership calls, they're once a month. Okay. And again, are you putting yourself in the position to be on here, to learn, and plug in? Okay. Are you making certain sacrifices to do these things? Because you do that, it's going to pay you. And, I look at some of the people on our team that built managing director. I'm so excited for what's going to happen with them in the first year, because a lot of them, they're like, man, I'm talking to people, they're not saying anything. They might not be saying anything back, but I guarantee you, they're reading your message, they're listening to what you have to say, and they're thinking about it. Okay. That stuff, just keep doing it. Keep making posts. I mean, make it post after post after post. I'm care. One thing I want people to kind of, this is the thing I had to grasp. The internet is so massive. You're like, well, I made 2 posts today. Well, you know what? Did the majority of your people pick up the phone as soon as you made those posts? Probably not. So it's like, it takes so much to get through the noise. And so I mean, you really got to push a lot out. Don't ever think I hate these people. Oh, post one thing, then post 3, 4 things about it. Dude, throw it out there. And then the messages, you got to follow up with messages. You got to follow with phone calls. You got to we don't have, one of the things I thought about this is listen to podcasts. If you want to get started in a business, you don't have the budget to be on radio or TV, okay, where they're blasting. So you have to be your own voice. You've got to post social media. You got to talk. You got to send. You got to be a very vocal person so people know what you're doing. So as you're continuously pushing this out, things are going to really gang up in 2020. One of the things too that, sitting here, I think we need some goals. Flat out. I think we need some goals. I think as a group, we're crushing it. I think that there's people in here that have the ability to be the president level. Okay. And I think one thing is we've got to start to stretch for that. And one of the things I wrote down, so we're at like 200 in our organization here. We're about 280 associates in the whole group. Okay. 280. So I'm like, by the end of January, why couldn't we not be at like 350? And I'm like, because I was doing some numbers, like, if everybody does 2, maybe 3 people a month. And I'm like, you're playing it safe. So what I'm saying, we need to do 400 total. Okay. I think in the next 2 months, okay, December and January, our goal is to get up to 400 associates in this organization. Now, the question is how many of those 400 are going to be yours? Okay. And how many of those are going to be on your team? Because if you put the majority of those 400 on your team, you're going to earn some major money. You're going to build an amazing team that's going to pay you a lot of residual income. I mean, that starts to just think, you put it in the pipeline and it's coming out. It's car keys, it's Christmas presents, it's credit cards paid off. There's a lot of things coming through that pipeline if you're doing all that. Okay. So the value of putting that forward. And so some of the things that can do that, one, as leaders, as you bring in a new associate, here's a couple things I want you guys to make sure we're doing. You're getting your people plugged into the message page or message system. So the instant message that we have, you're getting your new associates added into that so they know what's going on. You're adding them to the team pages. Okay. I've never made a team page because I don't want it to be complicated. You throw them into one brick at a time. And if they're doing really well, you put them in with the Buffalo, with Joe Hedacek. Okay, real simple. You put them in the product pages, and you're off and going. Okay, getting those people plugged into that. If the person is doing well, they're like showing interest to the business, you're getting them into a 3-way phone call or a 2-on-1 meeting with somebody up within IDLife. Okay, to help you work with that person. Okay, if we do those things, great things are going to happen. So here's the other thing. So not only do we want to do 400 associates, I'm going to count it. Okay, I'm going to keep us track on what we're doing. But the other thing too, if you want to move up in rank, this is simple. This is what I did in the very beginning. You got to build. So if you're a senior director, go build more managing directors. If you're executive director, okay, Jason, Todd, Brett, Pete Hill, okay, those four, you guys have got to be building more senior directors and getting who else, identifying who's next to be your executive director. And you got to help them build that. And you got to help your senior directors get more managing directors. So if it's not a hard concept if you think of it that way. If I want to grow my business and I'm a senior director, congratulations to Andy Britton, by the way, who at 11 o'clock on Saturday night pulled it out. Okay, you want to talk about was not watching football, went and did a quick thing with his family, was back on the phones, hammering it all the way into night, doing what it takes to make things happen. Okay, so, Andy Britton's a classic example. He's senior director. He's got to get his new managing directors. Okay, he's got to get his people to manage directors. Okay, he's got Pat Woods, who has a lot of potential, who needs to be moving to managing director. He needs to be focusing on him. As he's getting him to managing director, he needs to go out and recruit some more people that he's bringing in to make managing director. So, if you think about this, look at Brett. Okay, you're executive director. You have a senior director on you. As you're bringing your senior directors up in rank, you've also got to be bringing new people in to also make them managing directors. So you're always building managing directors, and you're always bringing your seniors up, and then your executives up, okay, and getting them to grow and build and plug in and stay organized. So if you look at the pay structure, and I believe in executive, you have to have 2 senior directors. So if you look at, I want to be an executive director, okay, which I believe everybody in this page can be an executive director. It's only $10,000 of volume and a handful of people. If you want to be an executive director, and by the way, executive director gets $500 rank advancement, which is pretty cool. So if you want to be executive director, what you need to do is you got to have 2 senior directors. So identify who you think can be your senior directors. You don't have that yet, then you got to go look for them. You got to recruit. And then as you bring in 2 senior directors, bring in 2 or 3 managing directors. If you do that, it naturally kind of pushes you already into executive director. So if you follow the blueprint that they explain, so like being national, you want to be a national, you have to have, if you want to be vice president, you have to have 2 executive, okay? And then, so if I want to be a national director, if I get myself 2 executive directors, then go down a rank before executive, senior, I need to have me another senior and some other managing. So you can actually kind of write those out, okay? And you can kind of plot yourself how you want to be in that. So the reason I say that is because as we start recruiting these people, okay, 400 associates, that's what we want to do for this team. If we do that, people are going to move up in rank. Their pay is going to get better. Your situation is going to get better. Okay, that means paying off the car, vacation, bringing a spouse home. Those things are getting closer within it being a attainable goal. Okay, so as you move up in rank, what else is happening here? Why am I putting this out there? Because it's setting you guys up for the fun part. The incentive trips. That's what we want. We want to see you guys on the incentive trips. I want to be on the incentive trips. And some of you guys are really close. So if you think if I'm hitting the executive or I'm hitting national, I'm naturally generating that TQV over and over and over again. Okay, if I build my teams big enough. And so if I go back and start recruiting right now and talk associates, okay, and I start working on getting associates, then what happens is those associates naturally start to build my team, okay? And it starts to move you up, and then the PCV is in sales. So the last part I want to talk about is I honestly, I'm freaking boom. I'm proud. I'm going to chest out proud. Brett Buechler, Andy Britton, Hannah, and Jim Campbell, all those guys, $1,000 or more in PCV. That's big time. And I want to see, okay, I'm telling you, this month of December, I want to see that 7-8 people. Shoot for that 1,000 PCV. Because another thing what that does, it gets you in for the trips. And I tell you, everybody on this page should be on the next incentive trip, which, by the way, I believe is a cruise to the Caribbean. And I've been told that it's big time. I don't know if this is true, but I heard it's about $10,000 to $12,000 per person. Yeah. You want me to tell you what a cruise looks like when you're at $10,000 to $12,000 per person? Okay. So that's going to be real sweet. And how about the time that we're all hanging out together, doing this together? I mean, this is the part about it that I love, is we get to all hang out and do life together, do life better. Those incentives are really cool. And by plugging away at this, by managing your time, seeing value and putting ID Life into your day. Okay. That's what I wanted you to see tonight, is there's value in it. Okay. If I make some sacrifices and I do this work to talk to people, and make some posts, it's not, looking at reports, and, when you do time, you got to make sure you're posting and you're talking and you're following up. If you put that in your day and get rid of some other things that aren't paying you, okay, things will work. I want you to see value in that. I want you to see the vision of 2020. I want you to see the vision of what Logan and them are working on. There's some products that I heard that they're coming out with in the next 6 months, 7 months, that are pretty cutting edge stuff that a lot of other companies have been trying to do, and they're on it. So those things like that. But you can't, I think, and before I finish up here, you can't just wait for those things to happen and then move forward. It's the people who fill their pipeline prior to that. Just example, like Masha, 15 DNA kits, I think. But if you watch Masha's training, she worked for weeks prior to that filling her pipeline. She was setting people up 3 or 4 days before that sale comes. So she was putting things in place. So there's exciting things coming. There's a promotion coming in December. So I wouldn't wait till the promotion to start messaging people. I'd start conversations now. And I would start building a team now, which I'm trying to help everybody do. And that's what we're trying to do because of the new stuff that's coming out in about 6 to 8 months. Leave you with this. Here's a pipeline training. Where do you go? All right, here you go. You want to fill your pipeline. You want to have success here. White space on your calendar. If you pick up anything from tonight, this part of the training right here, I want you to perk your ears up and listen. Okay? White space on a calendar is the devil. Pretty much white space on the calendar will destroy any business. And what I mean by that, if you don't have meetings, if you don't have calls set up, if you don't have somebody to talk to, then, or a meeting to go to, or a training, you're gonna fail. So how do we get things on the calendar? And I think this is the easiest thing. We all have really good friends. Schedule some lunch with friends. But you're like, oh, I mean, they don't like ID Life. I've already talked about it. It doesn't matter, okay? Schedule some lunch with a parent, with some friends, or a meeting, or a get-together, or a phone call. You can message, says, hey, when you get off work, I just want to catch up. I've been thinking about you. It has been a while. Let's call. You can do it with a high school friend. You can do it with a college friend, okay? Anybody. So get your planner out and say, okay, I'm going to make 20 calls, and I'm going to set up a couple calls and maybe some meetings. And I've got my calendar out in front of me, and I'm going to pick up the phone or take a message. And Brett might be a buddy. Hey, Brett, hey, are you free this afternoon around noon? I was going to give you a call. I've been thinking about you. We haven't talked a while. Yeah, man, I'm at 1 o'clock. Great, I'll call you at 1. Todd, hey, Jason, we've been haven't hung out in a while. Britton, dude, it's been so long. When are you done with working out? I'm going to come over and swing by the house. Okay, any of those things, and start putting on a calendar. Okay, check in with those people, talk a little bit, spend a little bit of time on the phone, catch up, and then they're going to ask you what you're doing. I'm building my ID Life business. It's going well. We're excited about it. We're doing DNA. Share what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can ask them even then, say, hey, would you have any interest in learning more? And some will say yes, some will say no, but you're putting things in action. Okay? And here's one thing that I want you to follow. So I talked to Andy Britton. Andy Britton's not interested. Now, write this down. This thing works. I've tried it, and it's crazy how well it works. Britton, do you know anybody? I know you're not interested in the business, which is okay, because a lot of times you always agree with whatever the person's giving back to you. So Britton says, this business is not for me, and so you repeat that back. I understand, man. I get it. It's maybe not something that's in your wheelhouse, but that's okay. I understand. But do you know anybody that you think would be? And a lot of times when you do that, the person's going to stop and they're like, what do they say? No, I don't. Okay. Most people will stop right there. And now you've lost the next appointment. I want you to ask them this question, and it works. I want you to say, oh, man, that's okay. I figured, kind of, yeah, that's all right. No big deal. I understand maybe not knowing anybody off the top of your head. But if you did know somebody, who would it be? If you did know somebody, who would it be? And all of a sudden, what happens, I've done this 5 times now, they just go, oh, well, my good friend Mark works out all the time. He loves this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, for some reason, it triggers something for him. Now, the next thing I want you to do, to follow this step by step, the next thing you say, well, how do you spell Mark's last name? And they got to either know, or even if it's like, is it Smith? Like, it is Smith, like S-M-I-T, like, just go with it. And like, yeah. And then, okay, well, make sure I got his first name. So, okay, Smith, he has Smith's first name. What's his number? Oh, why are you looking at, what's his email? And so you don't ask them, hey, can you give it to me? You just say, hey, how do you spell his name? You already get them in that. And what happens is they're in the mode thinking about, well, how do I spell his name? Well, I'm not quite sure. Let me look at my phone. Then all of a sudden he's looking at his phone. He has the number right there, and he gives you a number. All 5 people I did this with gave me numbers and emails. And this week I'm following up with them to reach out to those people and say, hey, my good friend Andy said that you work out a lot. I'd love to drop some information off to you and some product. Are you free anytime? And so that's how you can build your list of things on your thing. Here's one more thing you can do to fill your pipeline. So that's one, that's using your warm market and using referrals. Number 2, I guess that's number 3, and last, I want you to go back a year ago and call somebody that you've already done business with. Because people you've already done business with will more likely do business with you again. It's that simple. And now all of a sudden you have some people to call, reach out to them, say, hey, George, John, Bob, whoever, hey, I'm going to reach out to you. Are you free at this time or whatever? You send them a message, hey, I know we haven't talked in a while. I wanted to catch up. I really want to know how the family is. Are you around at this time? And set up a time to talk with them. And then when you talk to them, how you been? We did stuff in the past. I know you really liked it. I'm good at business. You know that we've done great things. I want to share something. Can I send you some samples and information? Okay. And now you've got him on the meeting to talk on your calendar. And then next you have samples going out. And then what comes after samples? Follow-up, and follow-ups, and then signing them up. Okay. So I hope that helps. I think that's kind of the things I wanted to cover: vision, value, and managing your time. Getting rid of the things that aren't paying you and putting things in that is. 400 associates, let's do it. There is one more thing. I know some people have not got their Revolution ticket yet. Tonight was the night that we said, hey, you got to make sure you have it. We didn't realize when I was putting that in that we'd have Thanksgiving, Black Friday. We're going to give everybody till the 10th. Okay, so if you have a few teammates that haven't got theirs, December 10th, that's it. If you don't have your ticket by December 10th, then Jamaica's not even a chance for you. Okay, because we want people to be there doing what we're putting together and plugging away. So December 10th, you can tell your teams that. Also, very important, write this down. Logan Stout is coming to Dayton, Ohio. Okay, if you don't know who Logan Stout is, he is the CEO and owner of ID Life. Logan Stout is coming December 11th. I will get the date. He'll be in Dayton, Ohio. So that's going to change what we were doing with Keith. Keith now is going to come January 31st and February 1st. Okay.
You mean he's coming January 11th?
Logan's coming January 11th.
Okay.
And Keith is coming January 31st and February 1st. Everybody got that? And we'll get those worked out the rest of the way. Brett, good pay period, buddy.
Thank you.
Britton, great pay period. I mean, just awesome stuff, man. I mean, this team's cooking. I mean, we're getting our feet back under us. We're getting through the Halloween and the Turkey Day, and we're grinding back again. And it's exciting. A lot of good things to come with that. I'm just making sure we didn't miss anything. 1,000 PCV. It's a good goal. Guys, I'm serious. Contact us. Reach out to a chance to sit down and say, hey, what can I do? What can I improve? Or how can I get better? What do you suggest? And we'll help you do that. We want people to be successful here. I'm going to open up and see if anybody's got it. I'm going to unmute everything here. Is there any questions? I think I got everybody. It's Britton. I would get on my phone, but I'm doing follow-ups and texting like yes.
Yes.
Sharon, how'd your booth go?
It was good. I got a lot of business cards out there. I didn't get any sales or anything, but everything went.
Yeah, you never know. That something might pop from that.
Yeah, I just need to get my name out there, and that's what I
do. Mr. Lawless, how was the final game, man? I bet you were crying like a puppy.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
Share a little bit to the team what your son did. That's pretty powerful.
Oh shoot, you talking about just like his college career?
Yeah, he kicked him.
Do what now?
Who he played for and.
Oh yeah, my son played Mississippi State for 3 years as a kicker. He actually got to start the first game this year in the Superdome. Scored 8 points for him. He didn't get to kick a whole lot. He was second string the 3 years, but got his degree. He's graduating in 2 weeks with his business degree, and he is in ID Life. He hadn't had a whole lot of time to work it, but I'm hoping he'll get going with his business. Do what?
He's got a few people signed up.
Oh yeah. Football's owned him for the last 3 years, so he's excited to come home, and we're going to try to get him rolling again and get him going.